was a challenging loss here to the New York Yankees. Back-to-back home series dropped, and perhaps it would have had a whole different outcome had there been a certain pitch called by Scott Berry that would have been challenged. Nevertheless, Michael Conforto batting above 300 as a pinch hitter, entering this at-bat and leaving still above 300, however, with one less knock to his credit. With that said, come on in. This is Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Yuengling Flight, the next generation of light beer. Cole Wright alongside the 9-year big leaguer Ryan Sweeney, and Sween Dog, one that looked so close for a moment, it slipped away, didn't it?
It really was. And I mean, you had a lot of opportunities today to be able to go out there and put some runs on the board. But look, it wasn't for lack of effort from Colin Rea going out there. I said in the pregame show, it seems like every time he goes out there, it's 5 or 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs or less. And today that's what he got. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. He goes out there, he strikes the first 5 guys out of the ball game. So he was looking sharp. It was just unable to put guys across the board today by the Cubs, leaving 9 guys on base.
No doubt. He's a native Iowan. I know you know something about that. We'll chat about Colin Rea in just a second. But right now, we need to discuss the struggles with runners in scoring position. 1 for 9 with frogs on the log, and 8 Chicago Cubs left on base. We're getting closer with each and every single game to the playoffs, and if you want to win a postseason series, you got to drive them in, Swing.
Well, it was really here in that 6th inning where you had the PCA leadoff walk, and then Suzuki continuing his on-base streak at 20 games, getting the single, but just guys not able to get guys in. You see here Nico Hoerner got one that we thought he probably should have challenged after the pitcher threw 3 balls in a row. It could have walked in a run. You're 2-2. Doesn't end up challenging it right there and ends up flying out. And then you see here again in the 8th, same kind of situation. 1 out, runners on 1st and 2nd, a fly out, and then Happ not able to do much here with that fastball down and in, stays inside it and flies out to left field.
Yeah, it's almost as if there needs to be a debriefing in close games like this. A guy like Nico Hoerner, as good as he is with pitch recognition, if anything, it's even a hair on the line. When you still have 2 challenges, you have to burn at least one of them, Sween.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially in those big situations. And we saw Conforto, and you talked about it, Cole. Barry had 7 overturned calls today. Just a lot of balls that were strikes and strikes that were balls, kind of going back and forth. So in that situation, knowing that you have 2 in your back pocket, that you could burn one and even be wrong, you're still in a 3-1 count. So he ends up not even able to take the walk there, and we were sitting in there, and it's like next pitch, you come in and you get a fly ball out. But I mean, you have to give Bednar credit. He goes in there, gets the 4-out save. He comes in a big situation. You try to make him work, but just unable to get the job done today.
No doubt about it. Let's rewind and go back to that Nico Hoerner at bat where there was that pitch in question. You see him right here. We talk about Nico and that pitch recognition. Brett Hedrick in on the mound, and when you have a reliever in, what do you want to make him do? Especially with bases loaded, you want to make him earn those strikes. And there were balls that were challenged in the at-bat, multiple by Nico, so he shouldn't have had such a slow trigger on that last one.
And Hedrick has swing and miss stuff, so we kind of questioned why the Yankees brought in a lefty to face Nico Hoerner, because he's such a good contact hitter with bases loaded. But then you come in and you get that pitch just off. Yeah. He throws 3 balls right in a row, and then you should be able to go out there and challenge that one. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what Nico says. Maybe he just felt like he was in a groove. He was seeing him well and wanted to be able to drive the ball in. But in that situation, you have to be able to put a run across the board and tie it 2-2 there and let somebody else come up next and try to get the job done.
Well, I'm sure in that situation, Nico, being the bat-to-ball kind of player that he is, he thought that a hit was going to be a whole lot better than a walk in that scenario. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to materialize. One thing that did materialize, however, was Colin Rea going out there once again, putting forth a Kings-like effort. We saw him 6 innings, and what more could you ask for him? He went out there, and like you said, first 5 batters of the game, sit down.
Well, we talked about it. The Yankees kind of combated him with throwing 7 lefties out there. So we talked about how it was going to be so important for his fastball and his changeup, and he really worked it in and out. He was able to get a lot of strikeouts here. Ben Rice was unable to hit Ray all day, 3 strikeouts. And then you had the homer coming after that.
Caballero.
Caballero is just one of those things where McMahon was able to go out there and lead off with a single. This was the only 2 runs that he gave up with the whole ball game, and it's kind of been that Achilles heel the whole series. Not a lot of runs scored this series, but when it was for the Yankees, it was via the homer. So, you know, he got locked in later on in the ball game, only ended up able to throw 6 innings pitched, but the bullpen came in, did their job, locked it down. But yeah, you just like to see that outcome, especially trying to win 2 out of 3 here against the Yankees when you have the Dodgers coming into town.
Absolutely. Are you surprised to see that Caballero ball get out of here? It was 400 and change. It's a skosh under 410 feet, and we saw some of the graphics during the ball game. If you tried to get one out of here left field, 50-plus feet the wind was holding that thing in.
Well, that ball was absolutely hammered, and I think we've seen all series that the wind has been blowing in, so you kind of got to cut through that wind to get it out. We saw it with the one from yesterday from Nico and the Oppo homer yesterday from the Yankees as well. So it's one of those things where it was just perfect pitch, perfect swing. He was able to get the ball out. A lot of these plays today, you were seeing the outfielders come in thinking they had a chance at the ball, and then the infielder would catch it. So that's how much wind was out here today. So it was very tough for all the fielders to be able to judge fly balls.
Yeah, a whole bunch of unknown going into this one, but now that the dust has settled, we know that the Yankees, they come away with 2 of 3 in this one. Not ideal, however, there's still a 3-pack with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that's going to get us to the fast play of the game presented by the Illinois Lottery. And unfortunately, we're not giving it to a Chicago Cub. It was Gerrit Cole. He went out there and absolutely diced the fellas. Seeing them just walk back to the dugout with maybe fractured scouting reports on his stuff, that's a tough look right there, Sweeney.
Well, 5 2/3, 4 hit, 1 earned run, only had 5 Ks, but it seemed like when he needed to get that strikeout, he did. We talked about everything hard, elevating that fastball. We saw a few 99s still there out of Gerrit Cole at 35 years old, so he was elevating those fastballs. He got Bregman to chase that one right there where you think in the back of your mind, like, how do you swing at that? But you're trying to do something to manufacture with a guy on third base to drive somebody in, but he just knows how to pitch. It seems like when he needed to get that pitch, he had a few walks, but he got it done when the job counted.
Without a doubt, as a major league hitter, when you're looking for one thing and a top flight pitcher like Gerrit Cole throws you another thing, sometimes it's easier said than done to catch up with it, isn't it?
Yeah, especially. And today, I think you could go out there. He wasn't throwing a whole lot of breaking balls. He was throwing that slider, and we know that he mixes in the changeup, but you really could go out on the fastball and kind of sell out on that pitch. It's just all about timing. But like I said, it's tough to. I almost thought in the back of my mind when I got 2 strikes on a guy like that, because Gerrit Cole, we knew early on in his career, as we saw in the pregame, he got me out on his sinkers, right? But he doesn't throw his sinker as much anymore. So you can kind of, I would get in the box, I would think in the back of my head, all right, see this guy down, right? I want to see him down. I don't want to chase that fastball up, because at least if I can read the ball in the dirt, if it's a breaking ball. But just unfortunately, Cubs unable to do that, and we could tell there by the runners in scoring position numbers.
Absolutely. Gerrit Cole able to hammer the zone, especially in pitchers' counts. You see his line, 5 2/3, 4 hits, a 1 earned sprinkled in, and Colin Rea nearly besting him. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and the 7 punch-outs. That is what you want to see. However, if you're Craig Counsell, you'd love to see a few more hits. Here he is on the lack of bats.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we gave up 2 runs. That means we pitched really well. You know, we didn't create much offense. It felt like there was a lot of offense there. There was walks there, but and then we had 4 hits, so I guess we had 9 at bats with runners in scoring position, and just weren't able to come through.
Situation. I think it was the 6 bases loaded. Nico's drill count. He doesn't challenge the pitches. Probably the ball according to the system. Like, is that something you talk to him about later? Is it?
I'm sure Nico's looked at it and wishes he would have challenged.
It's just like it's one of those things that like go up to into that situation thinking like I challenge anything close, or is that a dangerous way to go about it?
I mean, I think you can go up there trying to get a good pitch to hit, and in the background is the rest. Yeah. There's a lot going on when you're in the batter's box. And yeah, I mean, I think, look, when you come back to the dugout and you look at the strike zone and you see it's a ball, you're kicking yourself.
Today, the way he started the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible how he started the game. Not generally how he goes about it, but he had them kind of off balance and looked like they were maybe looking for something he wasn't throwing. And he was locating the ball really well, I thought. And it's one swing. Pulled the changeup to McMahon, base hit, and then left the fastball over the plate to Caballero. And but in the end, we gave up 2, and we just, like I said, we had opportunities. Just couldn't get we needed the next hit.
Pete's involvement, especially getting a lot walks and being on baseball, but today, that first walk, what do you think of his appearances for 3 walks?
Well, yeah, I mean, the first at bat is great. I mean, you throw a 10-pitch walk on the starter for a game, and almost like you've taken an inning away from him. You've kind of reduced the threat of 7 innings or something like really. He had excellent at bats today. Swung at the right pitches and took the right ones.
How did somebody change their approach, or I guess hone their approach for what he has to go from what he was before to now a guy who can take 3 walks in a game and put together those kind of bats? How do you do that so quickly? How does he do that?
He's an incredible baseball player and athlete. Flat out. Hasn't been done in 75 years. So that's an incredible athlete. It's a good baseball player. It's a young man getting better at the game.
Craig?
Yep.
Well, that's all you can do with each and every single game. Just try to get 1% better. Allow just 2 runs in each game of the series and lose 2 of those games. Yeah, rough weekend for that offense. Pitching, duly noted, has been pretty darn good. Hopefully that will extend over the next 3 because the 2-time back-to-back defending World Series champion Dodgers, and they will be en route after a 1-run defeat courtesy of the Yankees.